This is Leap of Faith. Anyway, man, Karibu.
Asante.
Karibu, man. Thank you, Michael, for being here. What's up, man? How you feeling today?
Feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. October is my birthday month.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
I
40 plus.
yeah.
Yes.
I don't say that out loud. But yeah. It's I'm feeling good. Yeah. And it's Mental Health Awareness Month, so it's trying to balance it all out. But I'm grateful.
Okay.
I'm grateful.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. Yeah, I just let me ask you first. I mean, when you look back at your whole journey, what got you into the space feeling comfortable in telling stories?
Wow.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever asked me that. I think I've always been fascinated by the idea of people buying into what I'm saying. You know?
Oh, okay.
Because if I track back, and I know my brothers and my sister gonna laugh so hard on this. Growing up, I used to create a character called Mtoto Sterling. I don't even know where I got that word from. But then I would sit my little brother down and I start narrate a whole movie from my head, and then it would be action movie, and it have a little bit of romance and a little bit of drama and a little bit of comedy. And my little brother would sit there and listen to me, to the point that I'm like, "Sikusimuli tena story," you know what I mean? So I think I grew up in a my dad used to have this thing like it is really, really important to read books, right? And I think another thing I was talking to my big brother the other day about it is like, we found out that we actually grew up in a house where we would read both English books as much as the Swahili books, right? So we would read stories like Swahili kweli kweli, and then we would also read stories like Kiingereza kweli kweli. I don't know if it was by chance or najua kama mzee was intentional about it. I don't know what happened, and that's how I ended up always being really, really fascinated by reading books, watching movies, and being able to narrate that to the other person, to other people. And I think unconsciously it kind of grew in me, right? So when I started working on radio, because that was my first job, a lot of people in the family were like, it makes sense. Like everybody was like, it makes sense. And somehow, somewhere, I've always found myself ending in a space where I would have to narrate my thoughts, or I would have to curate my thoughts. I would have to put my thoughts together and convince people why this is the right thing to do. So, yeah, I ended up being here. That's how I ended up here. And thank you for the question, because I mean, finally reflected a lot of things as well. Yeah.
And why radio? I mean, how do you eventually just decide that was it a conscious decision, or you found yourself down that path?
Interestingly, so when I did my A level, I wanted to become a lawyer actually, right? And I didn't get enough credits. I could kwenda kusoma sheria.
Okay.
But then I got a chance. I could kusoma mass communication at St. Augustine University in Mwanza, and the idea was, okay, do mass communication, specialize in public relations, because ideally that's where the big bucks ilipo. Kwa nilikuwa nasema nifanya pale public relations, nikitoka either work one of the banks or work on this one big mining companies and then be the PRO. I thought the plan was all set out. And then nimeingia chuo first year, somebody alinipeleka, this guy anaitwa Selemani Msumi. Msumi right now I think ni DC wa Arusha, if I remember correctly. Either ni mkurugenzi wa DC Arusha. So Msumi alikuwa akipita, yeye alikuwa third year, niko first year. So akipita sema anakuta anasimulia stories kuanzia za muziki, za movies, za football. Like I'm talking about everything. He was like, you know what? I think I should put you on air. So kulikuwa kuna Radio University pale. So akanichukua siku moja akanipeleka hewani, and then we were just talking about from music, movies, football, wrestling, like everything. And someone nilikuwa naweza navigate through this conversation, and then we talk about, we get feedback from what? Oh wow, you're this good. And I was like, you know what? This is actually something I can do. So at first I started doing it for fun. But then if you a second year, that is when you make a decision about where do you want to specialize, right? And I had three options. Either I do print media, newspapers, or I do public relations, or I do radio. And I opted to do radio. So, and then that's how TV and radio actually. And that's how the journey just kick-started from there. So literally I went to the university not knowing what mass communication is. To me, graduating thinking like anything that I do, this like radio was my life. And I think that's how I always find, like, no matter what I do, I always find myself getting drawn to that. You know, it's just what I love. It's just what I love. And I'm grateful that life has imeniweka kufanya kitu ambacho nakienjoy na nakipenda kweli kweli throughout.
Now it looks like I mean, you seem quite passionate. And what's one radio conversation or moment that still lives with you till this day? Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I got a call from Jakaya Kikwete when he was president on radio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was on his birthday. And then tulikuwa tunafanya, we couldn't get him on radio here, so tulikuwa tunafanya interview na mtoto wake Ridwan, right? So Ridwan was just telling us about JK, how he is as a dad, na nini. And then I think mzee was traveling, JK was traveling, I think from Morogoro kuja Dar or something of the sort. And alikuwa anasikiza radio. So he called on radio. And he said, you know, he started talking about this sort of love, I love this kind of songs, I enjoy your show. That was Okaneko Start Radio. That for me that was the mom I made it moment for me. I was like, why? I got the president to call on the show that I'm in, just to say that, you know, and on his birthday, just to have a very casual conversation about his music, the things that I love, the things that I enjoy. So that was a really, really big moment for me from that perspective. But another perspective is when you go to the part where, because we were doing a mid-morning show, it was a mid-morning show, 9 to 1, Monday to Friday. And it was purely, I would say it was purely a governance show. So what are the issues? How can we help solve these issues that are happening around the country, around your areas and all that? So when you get to the point now where people will start to send in numbers of Bungewao, their local leaders, like, we can't deal with them. You deal with them, you know? Oh. And we used to get us on the regular. So for me, it was like, wow, we've actually been able to build this trust. Wow. That people know, kama nikiwa na issue, nikipeleka on this particular radio station, on this particular hour, people would actually, they would listen and they would act on it. And we used to get a call back from the member of parliaments and the local leaders of this area. They would say, yo, you know, yes, wananchi wa area, like in this one, two thing. I'm like, so we're actually building a sense of accountability here, and it was purely driven from the audience side, from side the audience. So those are the two moments that whenever I look back, I was like, I did something there. Yeah.
So in that regard, that you get the trust of your listeners.
Yeah.
You become an intermediary.
Yeah.
Yeah, for them to voice their concerns and what have you.
Yeah.
And do you think with that kind of power, because it is power.
It is.
Actually, let's take this. How has that molded you as a leader? Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
That kind of responsibility, trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question. So one, this is when well, thank God, this is when I knew for a fact, Kwamba, you don't take for granted what you say on air. You never, ever, as long as you have the mic on, and chances are people will listen, don't you ever, ever take that for granted.
That's deep.
That's number one. Okay. Because you never know how it might impact people, right? So that was a big realization for me. That's number one. Number two, and then to the amount of issues I was quite exposed, it made me realize there are real life, any crowd about they have real life issues. And these things affect my share on the daily. Now sometimes we might find ourselves living in a space ambayo tunaweza kuona kama haya matatizo sio makubwa sana, simply because maybe we experience, or simply because we are from katika depth ambao wengine wanafahamu, you know. And it really made me realize as well kwamba what might seem trivia to you, it might seem a trivia issue, a very small issue kwako, is something ambacho kinaweza kuimpact maisha. Kwa mfano, naweza milo maji yasitoke kwangu, afu nikasema na reserve anyways. I'm okay. We'll find a way. Worst case scenario, nitawapigia jamaa anaitwa mabozo, watakuja watanunua, nitajaza. I keep on, things zitaendelea, watoto wangu wataoga, kisha wataenda shule. But inawezekana kuna mtu maisha yake yako stuck kabisa because of that, right? So it really it paint me katika, I would say, the realities of the life, because babu, I didn't grow up rich, like I grew up comfortable. Never got everything that I wanted, but everything that I needed was there. My parents really tried to make. I always say, come on, you grew up having PlayStation, you're slightly above that. Usually, my dad, I'm like, come on, you had a PlayStation growing up, you're slightly above that.
You're comfortable.
You're comfortable, really. And and sometimes we're in a bubble because maybe your friends wako hivyo na your community, you tend to think about that's how life is for everybody. And then ukitoka, and that's what the radio shit did for me. Like, it really got me off my comfort zone. Na kwanza kuona kwamba kuna much bigger issues ambazo zinaendelea na nyingine ni kubwa kuliko what's going on in my own life, right? So it really shaped me. Even now, whenever I really tend to, it helped me build empathy, I would say. You asked me a question about how it has shaped me as a leader. I'm a very empathetic person. I'm really heavy on empathy, and I really try to understand where people they come from. So even when we're having confrontation, or we're having a misunderstanding, or me trying to address a certain thing, I really try to make sure that I put myself in your shoes so that I can understand you better. And I think it's something that every person, especially now people who lead in certain spaces, they need to have empathy. That experience really helped me to build the empathy.
Do you think that's what made you have this conviction to start off Men, the podcast?
Oh, that started off my own trauma.
Your own trouble. Okay.
Podcast started off my own issues. But it helped. It really did help. Yeah. Because I think I went through some things, and I went to therapy, came back, and started to have conversation with the guys about it. And the guys like, we'll go through that. It's normal as a man. And I was like, no, it's not normal. I mean, I don't know. I know how much this thing almost ruined me. I was like, there's got to be a way. We got to be able to do something about it. And, started talking with the idea, like, how do I do? What do I go about it? And actually, I had a conversation with my guy, Ruben Deg in Chicago.
Yes.
And we were talking about it. It was like, you should start a podcast on mental health for men. And I was like, you know what? Maybe we should do it. And then we slept on the idea, right? We just slept on. I think we're having a conversation on 2017, Ron. We slept on the idea, and I got an opportunity to attend what we call Young African Mandela Washington Fellowship.
Yeah, I was actually coming to that. But we'll come to that.
So when I attended it, I started to have. I met people from other countries who were championing mental health. So as we were talking about it, Jamal Kanambia, but you're a journalist. You should be able to figure out a way, to do it. So when I come back, I was like, maybe I should start a podcast. So I posted a tweet on 2018, like next year, December. I said, next year I'm going to do a podcast on mental health for men, and the response was huge. And again, I slept on that idea for the whole year. Till I think it was October 2019. I was like, you know what? I watched this thing, Denzel Washington was talking about, without commitment, you'll never start without consistency. And it really, and that has been my mantra for a long time. I was like, why shouldn't I start a podcast? I mean, I work for the BBC. By that time, I was working for the BBC. I have an access to the studio here that on the weekend, nobody's using it, so you can come and do the recording. You have a bit of equipment. Do something about it. So I did the first episode, put it out in November 2019. People loved it, and we've never looked back since then.
No, I mean, you guys have been consistent. Yeah, you have been consistent. And I do read some of the comments.
Yeah, thanks.
And I'm happy actually with the conversation we had on earlier about people from different continents listening in.
Yeah.
Within the context of Tanzania, do you feel that the podcast has played at least a considerable role in allowing men in particular to address themselves?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Yes.
Without a doubt. I always say that you go back 6 years ago before it started, even the conversation around mental health has gone katika space iliyopo now. Right? We started it, and now I'm not saying we are the only one who did it.
No, I totally agree.
People, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. That's why I contribute.
I know we did play a part. That's something I know for sure, because once we started it, that is when conversation around mental health really started to like people caught up with it, like, oh yeah, this is actually an issue. I mean, everybody knew it was an issue, and I think at some point conversations kwa zinafanyika, like maybe the large scale na kwenda kwenye mainstream media, now kuna conferences zinafanyika. You know, those are not the things above 6-7 years ago zilikuwa zinafanyika. This year naona kuna national conferences on mental health zinafanyika, and I'm like, I know somebody must have listened to the pod, someone influential. You're like, you know what? Why are we not taking this serious, or why are we not considering this? So I know we did play a part, and also after we did the podcast, a lot of other initiatives on Music Hub, they picked the pace. Right now, kuna conferences on Music Nafanyika. Now, kuna talk spaces Nafanyika. Now we see a lot of men are gathering. Now we see a lot of men are also thinking like, do we need to go to therapy? How can we seek help? I can tell you the amount of people who reach out to me in person. And I always got to tell guys, I'm just a journalist by profession. I'm not a therapist. I can give my 1 or 2 cents, but after that, go seek some proper help. So we've actually seen how it like the podcast imechangia sana kukuza conversation around mental health, now especially around mental health for men. That is something that I can proudly and confidently say. How much? We don't have data. We cannot really attribute everything to the podcast, but we do know kwamba kuna part ambayo imefanya, and also because the type of guests that we've had throughout the years. Tumekuja na watu ambao, we've had people ambao they're very influential, so they bring in numbers ambao wanaweza wakafanya watu fulani wasikilize. We've had kuna conversations, people are not so famous but they are really deep, or they know the issues, or they experience some things ambavyo they're so relatable kwa mtu anaweza akasikiza kusema, you know what, hii tatizo ni kubwa kuliko kwa huyu mtu hapa, so can we, if there's something we can do about it as a nation. So we have played a part. We surely have played a part in terms of amplifying conversations around mental health, and especially mental health for men in Tanzania.
Wow. Okay. Any particular episode that has moved you?
A lot. I've done 107. Your episode is 107. I've done 107 episodes throughout the years, and I always say, kwamba every time I get to have a conversation with guests in the pod, it's like therapy for me, because the therapy that I don't pay for, because they always bring in a fresh perspective. And most of my job is just to ask the questions and try to make sure that I ask the right questions. So a lot has stood up for me. I think episode number 4, number 5, it was out to do with grief.
Yeah.
And then we're talking to this guy who lost his friend and how he's struggling to deal with it. It made me go back and look at the time I lost my dad. And how did I process it, right? And I always say that in that particular episode is when I realized not only how I dealt with it, but even nikisikia mtu amepata msiba, and how do I approach it. Whenever I tell people, like, at least when I used to say people like, yeah, I'll be here for you, I was looking at it from the perspective, yes, I can hear you, but don't call me. I might not be able to help you as much. You know, so I'm trying to say the right thing, but not meaning it. Yeah, but I'm not meaning it, right? So with that episode, it tracked me back to when I lost my dad. And I also say this open, like, nimeenda kwenye msiba mzao, minaona kaniko nimeenda msiba mtu mwingine. I'm like, mzao was called Fariki. It's my dad. I'm like, what you mean, right? It's still mwili umekuja nyumbani kuaga, ndo it hit me. He's gone, right? And it hit me hard, right? So that episode about grief was really the one that, yeah, Another episode that I think we did also one of my favorite episodes. We did an episode with a guy called Sande Kapesi, and I just loved it. By Sunday was so willing to be just vulnerable, to be open, and he's so comfortable. The experience yake, and unajua people really waga tunatania kwamba you cannot shame the shameless, waga tunatania, you know. But when you own your shit, like when you own your things, and nobody can use it against you. For that episode, it was about that. He came in, it was raw. He was like, "This is me. This is my experience. This is my life." You know, that was just a very. It was quite a good experience to have in the pod, right? The episode we did with you about sobriety, and then we really started to look at the drinking culture and how we've normalized some things that shouldn't be normal, but we tend to treat them as okay. And then tunajua long-term impact iko vipi, like it's like we're not ready to do these things now. So yeah, I have a story for each episode that we've done. We did an episode on parenting and fatherhood, right?
Yeah, I saw that one. I watched that one. Yeah.
And this guy was talking about it. It really, as a father of two, I never thought of it that way. But with other Kunya, was like, yeah, you can have kids in the same house, then they're completely different, right? And somebody gave me a very good narrative, like when you get your first kid, angalia where you are financially, your mental health, everything else with you, and look at when you get your second kid. So these two kids are being raised by completely different parents.
Yeah,
Angalia the relationship we had with the mother of the kid, and the relation that when you get your first child, the relation that you have with the mother of your kid when you get your second child. All the things impact how both of you raise your kid. And those are not the things ambavyo nilikuwa naweza kufikiria mwenye. Is still when I get to have this conversation with people. And that's why I always say, like, whenever I get to have a conversation with the podcast, it feels just like therapy for me as well. And there's so many thoughts that have gone on to impact and impact my life and enrich out my knowledge and how I view things. Yeah.
That's deep. There's something that I've always wanted to ask, especially people who have opportunities like yours, is you're able to put perspectives out there.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's lived experiences, right? People listen. But is there something that a lot of guys don't actually take action? Yeah, and it goes back to me asking, what is it, or what do you believe is the reason to why so many men are silent? And when I say silent, I don't necessarily mean that you have to come out vocally to the public and say, hey, this and this and this. But silence means addressing and acting. So they're not addressing or acting the situation. What do you think is?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I would first put the blame on the society and how we were raised. And kuna somebody I need a very good simple explanation. Like as a kid, right? Go na cheza, bela baba, ukijikwa, your dad gives you the look. Like, don't cry. Don't cry. If when you don't cry, ukisipolia, they don't give you the props. Come on, my man. You know what I mean? So now we grow up really trying to prove kwamba yes, I am a man. Now struggles haziwezi kuniumbisha. It has its benefits. It has its disadvantages. You know, the benefits, I think, maybe it builds resilience. It prepares to take over the world. You know, kwa this dunia even na vitu kama hivyo. But the impact that we have now is inatunyima the language and the skills on how to best communicate our emotions, right? Okay. So as a result, when we get older now, we do not have the tools to communicate. So because we do not have the tools, either tunaisha kunyamaza or when we communicate wrongly. And I always say, like, kuna vitu viwili ambavyo mwanaume context ya Tanzania, I haven't been, sijatembea dunia nzima, kwa wouldn't know. Lakini kwenye context ya Tanzania, some societies, like, kuna two emotions ambazo mwanaume akionyesha to acknowledge. Either furaha when you're happy.
Yeah.
anger. And when you're angry, everything else in the middle, una matatizo gani? Uweze kuwa na huzuni, uweze ukalia, uweze kuonyesha you're suffering, uweze kuonyesha you're struggling. Yani, you can't. It's either these two emotions ambazo jamii imezikubali na sisi kama wanaume tunaenda nazo. Now, because tuna hizi, manake we do not have the means or the tools to communicate the range of emotions. Babu uweze kusema kama the only emotions we have in the world ni furaha na hasira tu. Kuna a lot of other things, but we don't have the tools, we don't have the means. Now, narudi pale pale. Changamoto kubwa zaidi kwamba na wote wanaotuzunguka wapo kama sisi. So because now, wote wapo kama sisi, then we don't see it as a problem. Because everybody else, that's what they can do. Na ndio maana we might go chill, drink. We might chill with the guys. Mtu anaweza kawa na suffer, we wouldn't know. But when you're drinking, we're either atatuonyesha ana hasira kitu fulani ambayo tuta acknowledge au anafurahi kitu fulani ambayo pia tuta acknowledge. Everything else in the middle, we do not even have the tools za kumsaidia mwenzetu. And I think that is what has been the biggest problem for the longest time. And number two, apart from baada society kwa imemlea mwanaume hivyo, na huyu mwanaume amekuwa mkubwa, now the society nawaambia, but you should learn to speak up more. But even the society is pia haipo tayari kumpokea mwanaume ambaye anaongea sana. Because even as a man, we are a little bit more emotional. Now, we don't have to say mwanaume emotional all the time kwa sababu dunia, the world is
and they shouldn't.
Yeah, it shouldn't. You should be able to balance this too. But then again, even while you are yuko moderate na can articulate, there are people who have done the work. There are people ambao they worked on themselves and they're really, really comfortable where they are. Now, even this, ambao wanajimudu kweli kweli, as a community, we look at them differently. So now it is not encouraging for the rest of us to actually go and do the work. Right? And for me, that's where I feel like the biggest challenge is kwamba we have been, and also pia tunalea watoto wetu kama tulilelewa sisi. You know, so I feel like it's a vicious cycle kama inaweza kaendelea kwa muda mrefu sana. Maybe it will come to an end at some point. Good thing. Again, msiba wengi harusi. It's a global issue. You go everywhere else, there's some problem for men. So it's just not a society thing. It's just not a Tanzanian thing. And especially in black communities, right? Whether you go to America, you go to the UK, a lot of places where you find the black communities.
I agree.
We do have the same kind. South Africa, you know, go to Kenya, go to Uganda, a lot of other places ambazo kuna black communities. Black men are suffering or they are going through the same challenges. So now at least imekuwa realized kwamba, okay, it's not a one community thing. Now there's a big movement of how do we navigate or how do we migrate from how we were raised to how we should be. So I think it's we are the product of our environment, really.
Well, I see that empathy aspect. I see. I see it in you. Yeah. Mandela Washington Fellow.
Yeah.
You are. So you were selected.
Yeah.
And how did this selection come to be? And I know this must have shaped a great deal of your career thereafter.
Yeah. So actually, I did apply. There was a whole application process to go through, and back to storytelling, right? You have to be, at least for me, from my experience, is you have to be honest about what you know, the work that you've done in your community already, and what you're hoping to achieve after, right? Because I think we've got three aspects. We've got aspect business, we've got aspect civic engagement, and I forgot the third one. So me, I applied for civic engagement based on the work that I was doing then, and I'm always intrigued by the things ambavyo been a big impact kwenye community na kwenye society, right? So that's why I applied for the civic engagement, and then after that, I got selected. Kadbepelekwa in Philadelphia, kuna this chuo inaitwa Drexel. What's Philadelphia? No, right next to UPenn. It's amazing. It was a good experience. But what that did, however, what did for me now is, one, it was mostly about meeting so many people, like-minded people who are doing amazing things in their country, right? You have a person ambaye she was an architect, lakini anajaribu kuona how do I create, she's from Durban, I think. How do I create a space where Muslim people could come in. She's a Muslim who people could come in and pray and be comfortable. But then again, while also championing for architect, right? From a girl's from a girl child space, you have a person from a mental health activist from Lesotho, and they're like, how do I amplify it more, right? You have an artist from Zambia, big deal artist, big artist, and he's out there saying, can I use my voice to create more change? So for me, all this, and then you have 6 weeks with these people. So every day, this is what you're talking about. And that really ends up shaping your mind, right? And then so by the time I came back home, I was like, okay, what can I do in my space to amplify the whole conversation of civic engagement, and what does impact mean for me? Because everything else is all about impact. So it started to be like, okay, what does impact look for me? What does success look like, right? And then that's when I realized I'm more intrigued or much more interested in work or projects that are actually directly influencing lives or changing lives for the better. And if I trace back all of my career, those are the only kind of jobs I've done. With East Africa Radio, the radio show that I was doing was strictly that. After that, I went to work to this organization called Femina. I was a radio editor, and I was doing a radio show which was mostly about how do we make farming look cool for the youth, right? And so that we can get them more into farming. And then after that, I went to the BBC. I was a senior producer for a governance radio show, which was strictly about how do we influence policy and how do we change policy so people can have a better life. After that, now I work with Bongo, where we're creating content for kids, which is about how do we create a foundation of skills for this kid to be able to excel. And then on the other hand, I'm doing a podcast, which is about mental health for men. So it really, really made me realize that, and I'm always attracted to those kind of projects. That's it for me. We always have a laugh with my wife. She's like, if somebody calls you to do something that is going to impact, you're not even going to charge it. I'm like, it's my way of giving back. I've been blessed. I'm lucky. So if there's a way that I can give back and it can actually go and impact people's lives, then that's it. So with the Mandela Washington Fellowship, it really, really gave me clarity in terms of this is what fills you, this is what fulfills you, and this is what drives you. About can you create impact? And I think even last time when we talked on the pod, I talked when I think we're talking about purpose, something about purpose, and I was like, I think for a lot of time, purpose is never about what you can earn.
Oh yeah.
My perspective is purpose should always be, can it impact other people, and can that fulfill me? So the Mandela Washington Fellowship, it really, really, that's what it did for me. It really, really made the whole point of purpose and for me to understand really, it kind of paved the way for me to get clarity more in terms of what is your purpose in life, right? And clearly mine is to serve. So
well, that's deep. So leadership. What does this mean to you now? As a father, as a man, a storyteller, and someone right now in the community who's actually, as we've just spoke, the podcast. What does it mean to you? Because I know leadership means very different things to different people.
For me, it only means one thing, bro: to serve, bro, and to serve. And I look at I'm a Catholic, so I can look at it from the biblical aspects, right? I think there was a moment that I think when Jesus was about to have the Last Supper or something, and he was washing the feet of his disciples. And it was like, the leader should be able to serve, right? Even at the office, I always tell the people in my team, like, guys, my job is to set you up for success. My job is really to let you know what you need, and now I can set you up for success, or what direction can I point so you can actually go and fly, right? Even with my kids at home, I'm always like, and I think that's how I like to think, you never know, but I'd like to think that's how I carry myself. I'm more of, let me set it up for you so you can do it well, right? And for me, that's what leadership is all about. I don't think as a leader, it should be the focal point of things,
I hear you.
I think it should be mostly about the people that you're serving, because that's what the whole purpose is, right? And for me, that's just, it could be, maybe I'm influenced by the Bible. Maybe I was influenced by how I look at how my dad approached things, him being the great man that he was. But I always think kwamba you cannot be a good leader if you cannot serve, right? That's one. Two, the earlier point about empathy. You cannot be a good leader if you do not have empathy. And I always want to company in the office context. You may be trash at your job. You might be a leader, but you trash at your job. But if you have good people skills, people walk through fire for you. We've seen people who walk through fire for their bosses or for their leaders, right? And I always say and people skills, it doesn't mean you know how to send good emails. It's just the act of, do you care enough? Are you engaged enough? Are you present enough? Can people actually trust you to mean well? Do you fight for your people? And do they believe that you can actually fight for them, right? Do you say the things about them that you would say when they're not around as well? So all those other aspects really, really, for me, is what makes a person a good leader. So it's to serve, bro. Like, it all comes back to that.
Yeah.
For me, it all comes back to that for me.
Are these skills being transferred to the next generation? Do you see a lot of this in it's widely used now, Gen Z and Gen Alpha that's coming? And are these becoming traits in our social fabric?
First of all, I think people should not underestimate Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I think a lot of this, I want to say kids. These people, I don't want to call them kids.
Yeah, no, go ahead. This is why we need to clarify this. Yeah.
These people, they know so much about what they want.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us, we tend to take them for granted to think that they know nothing. And if you sit down and have a conversation with them, you'd be amazed.
Yes.
By how much they know about things, right? That's number one. Number two, I think it's our duty to be really, really intentional about passing the skills. Because you look at it, how do we get these skills? Either somebody took a chance on us, or somebody took a chance on me. Like, Michael, I see there's 1, 2, 3 in you. Come here, let me coach you. Whether it's and I've been mentored by a lot of people, right? So now it's my duty to give back as well and to mentor others, because it's really, at the end of the day, the blame is going to be on us. You guys, you had the opportunity, you had the skills, you never passed them down on us. And how do you expect us to be better, right? So as millennials, we do, and as millennials who think themselves as leaders, we do have the responsibility of passing the baton and passing the skills to the Gen Zs and the Gen Alpha, because the matter of the fact is, the skills are important, but the skills are the same, but the applicability is what might be differently.
You're very right what you said.
Yeah. So we need to make sure they have the skills and then let them apply where they would see fit. And I think that there are some things for me that just come with experience. And kuna vitu, you have to have lived a certain life, hold a certain position, be in a certain situation, or experience certain thing, ambayo itakupa the skills that you might actually need to continue to excel. So once you acquire that skill, can you pass it down? Or can you provide an experience for this other person to learn as well, so they can be better and see how they can actually apply it, right? So I think that is one thing we really, really need to focus on. How do we pass the skills and then let them apply where they see fit? Because if not, at the end of the day, the blame is going to be on us.
I agree, and I'm happy what you said, because I honestly, probably 2 years ago, did not think much of the whole concept of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. But raising 2 daughters, who were classified, in there. Reality check. But the beauty, what I came to learn, is that they do know what they want. This is why millennials are saying these guys are rebellious at this because they're clear,
they're clear
with what it is that they want.
Yeah.
We were not clear.
Yeah.
Okay. And what you just said, I believe the biggest thing is that we are failing to pass on the lessons.
Yeah.
As you said, the lived experience, and share it with them so that they know how to actually navigate now.
Yeah.
No, I hope we do right, man.
I hope so, man. I hope so, man. And it's funny you said it. I think even us growing up, we really didn't have a lot of chances of saying no.
Oh no.
But these kids, no, they're like, no. Why should I? Make it make sense. Like I talk to my kids. Like I drive my kids to school every day, and the amount of conversation. So they are 9 and 6. The amount of a lot of why I get asked. Like the amount of why, but why? Yeah, why is it necessary? Why should you do this? And to the point I found like, why am I explaining myself too much for the kids? And why am I explaining myself so much in Belly Hour Toto? But then again, I'm like, this is how we know we're trying to do better. Is if you're creating because they go to the schools where they're being taught things like critical thinking and reflections. Nadia talked about that. They're like kids are learning about reflections, and I'm like, okay. My kid told me the other day she's learning something about global perspective.
Yes.
And then you expect them to sit and have a conversation, just follow along. It's kind of difficult. So I think we need to adapt. I think we need to adapt, and we need to understand that how they are shaped. They are really, really shaped from the get-go to really know what they want and probably go for it, right? And just saying no is not going to cut it. Not on this generation. You really have to be able to make it make sense and say why this is so and so and so. So yeah, we should be, like I said, we hope we do better, man. No, let's hope we do better.
Definitely. And what's your true view on going after what it is that you want when you have adversity of what you are told you need to do?
You asked me this question 6 years ago. Would have been completely different answer.
Okay.
You ask me now, I would say weigh your options, create a plan, go for it. And I'll tell you why. I did a podcast on the guy that I used to work with at Bongo. This guy used to be what we call post-production manager. He's about filming and everything else. But this guy's a medic doctor. He's a medic doctor. Like he went to Russia.
Did his time.
Yeah. But the reason he went to Russia was because his dad wanted him to become a doctor. He didn't want to become a doctor. So there's a lot of back and forth. The point was like, you know what? I'll give you what you want, Dad. So he went, amesoma, amerudi akamwambia mzee, sutaka daktari. There you go. Now let me pursue what I want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In the long run, Memsadia now he's a communication expert on public health na vitu kama hivyo na nini, right? But then ikanipa opinion kwamba sometime we might think we know what's best for people, but we don't always know. So and using nilikuwa naongea na mtu mmoja, I guess not the kind of same question kwamba what if a child akitaka kuwa a dancer? We should let them be. I took a moment, I think about it, and I said, I hope I instill good values for my child. By the time I can work with a dancer, I can dance with good values. And I'm being totally honest. Like I hope I instill good values. Because wherever they're going to be, au chochote atakachotaka kuwa, atakuwa ni decent human being, akifanya hicho kitu with values, right? So coming back to your question, that's what I said 5 years ago. I'd be like, no, you should do what's necessary.
Yeah.
But right now, I think we're at the age now we are realizing kwamba moja opportunities nipo nyingi sana, right? Our parents grew up, go be a doctor, be a teacher, be an engineer, be a da. Right now, we have content creators who are making tons of money. They're earning a living, right?
Yeah.
So now with technology inavyokuwa, I think we are realizing more and more, like, going after what you want is not necessarily a bad thing, as long as there's clarity. And that comes to the point we same about giving guidance.
Yes.
It's always good to accept, well, this is what I want and going for it. I'm like, okay, at what cost? Have you weighed in your options? If you thought about 1, 2, 3, what is your game plan? Can we make a solid plan about this? And let's see how we can actually support you to go get it. Now, kuna watu wengine, they are cutthroat. They don't care who's on the way in the of getting what they want. That's a whole different discussion. But I think we live in a world where you cannot run away, you cannot hide from the fact that there are some people who would go for what they want. Now the question is, how do you provide infrastructures? How do you provide guidance? How do you provide clarity? And I think maybe I'm speaking from a parent's perspective here mostly. Like, how do I provide clarity? How do I provide guidance? How do I provide the infrastructure? How do I provide a mazingira about, yes, if this is what they want, then probably they'll have a chance of attaining it. Not necessarily they will attain, but at least they'll have a chance, or they'll be given a fair chance to at least go for it. That's it. But again, on the other aspect is, now if you took come out to Aziba right now, with me saying I'm going after what I want, I should be able to wait. It comes at what cost? Because it's not always what I want will be what's best for everybody. If you know what I mean.
True.
It's not always what I want. It's like, I know we're talking about the grand scheme of things, but it cannot be about what I want is to party every night.
Yeah. And
me saying I'm going for it and expect to have more time with my family. So those things do not go hand in hand. So that's why I said, katika level ya utu uzima, you have to weigh in the cost and say, yes, with me going for it. Even the higher you go in your career, the chances of you, and the higher you go, the more you have a limited time to spend with your family, right? So as well, that is you going after what you want, but you should understand it comes with what cost. Yes, on the other hand, unaweza kusema kama inakuja na advantage, you get to provide, unaweza provide vizuri zaidi, unaweza kupeleka watoto shule nzuri zaidi, maybe your family inakuwa comfortable zaidi, your mom, your wife and everything else, which is good. But then again, ambaye ukipewa sana unatakiwa utoe sana. You too much is given, much is lesson, kwa hiyo, or much is asked from them, kwa hiyo. Then you have to understand, the higher you ascend, the less time you get to spend with your family. Now, is that what you want as well? Right? So, I don't think there's a right answer to it. It's just about being able to weigh in all the options and find out what it means for you.
The path that you've taken, so you've done journalism, studied mass communication, radio, did something in between.
Yeah, I did. Let's say I did radio. I would say I've done radio for much till when I got to Bongos, when it extended much. But I would say for much of my work, it has been based around radio.
So now you're more into the creative side of things. So you guys coming up with stories. This must be something new, something more challenging, because it's very easy for one to say, I come up with stories. I mean, people think it's an easy thing. But you need to weave these stories in a certain way that it actually has values, promotes everything about it, has to promote excellence or heading towards excellence. How's it been? I think it's 4 years now? Yeah, 4 years. Yeah. And how is it shaped you in understanding how we communicate with our children?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. So, I think the work that we do at Bongo, as an organization as a whole, it's such a massive work. In terms of people look at it as cartoons. When you look at it, no, this is purely educational. We have a whole team of research that does a lot of research to come and tell us, guys, these are the gaps. This is what kids need to learn, and this is what they're not learning, and this is what we should teach, right? And then after that, we do go create this story with kids. So we literally have a team, especially our script writers. They do travel with the teams to really sit down, and they travel to sit down with the kids and say, if this is how would you like to be taught this? What kind of stories would you want to see? How do you want to learn about algebra? How do you want algebra to be taught? And all those things, and then they come in now. The script writing starts to happen, right? And through 4 years, what has taught me, one, the kids are experts of their world.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bro, we think we know. We think we know, but the kids are the experts of their world. And I always say, like, there are things that mtoto wangu anaweza akafanya ambao mimi hawezi. Sasa I'm like, but no, that's an expert of his world or of our world, right? The kid, because they know the stories that they want. They know the kind of songs that they want. They know how they want to be taught certain things. They know how they want to be taught algebra. They know how they want to be taught how to read and all this other thing. That's one. Number two, it made me, I think we always talk about it as a community, but we never talk about the importance of parents and caregivers on influencing the kids' learning. And it is massive. It is massive. And it's just not about coming, sit down, let me do my homework with you. Is how do you create a foundation for kids to really, really start enjoying learning, right? And it comes on simple things such as, can we play together? Can we do this together? And that is what sparks a child's curiosity, right? The more you spend time with them, the more you understand, the more you create an environment like, can we play this? Can we do this? If you thought about that, why are you doing this? Talk to me about this. You will be amazed by how much your kids know. So it really has changed me. Not changed, I would say it has shaped me. I had my core beliefs about how I want to raise my kids. But I don't think for the past 4 years of working at Bongo has really either strengthened my beliefs, or it has made me see certain things certain way and go like, And also I think at the office, we have this thing, there's a lot of us who are parents, and we get to talk about our kids' experiences differently. And it really, so we all have values in the office, right? That guide how we work. And a lot of these values can be translated into our daily lives, right? So whenever we talk at the office, we do a little bit, we have a banter about how do my kid is doing this, my kid does that. And I'm always like, we're always fascinated by how kids pick things up, right? We did I'll give you a good example. We did a season of our show called A Killing Me, and then the song will talk about doing things differently, right? And one of my colleagues was telling about her child did something, and she was like, but why did you do that? And she said, like, I do things differently. And you're like, you do not think they'll be able to pick things, but then that's why I say kids are the experts of their world. And then if you want to go into a child's world, just know be able to learn, be willing to learn, and you'll be amazed.
I like that.
You will be amazed, bro.
Communicate with your child. Be ready to learn. Be willing to learn. Yeah.
Be ready to learn. Yeah. Whenever I do my homework with my child, and I went to this, she was at some singers.
Yeah. She's
doing a whole different scheme. And then Sister Merlin. And you got my finance, many kinds of movie, and I'm like, that's not how my teacher taught me. And a lot of time I have to be humbled to be like, what did Miss Pound say? And this is what Miss Pound say. You do ta-da-da-da, and I'm like, oh, okay. And this is me learning, bro. This is me learning, because if I go in out there and say, this is what my mwalimu alifundisha in the 90s, it's completely different. So you have to be willing to learn. So that is what Bongo has done for me. And one, like I said, we do create these stories with kids, and we do get feedback from the kids. And as a creative director, really my role is just to say, guys, this is where we're heading. Our company is big, it's Pan-African. We are not creating only for Tanzanian market.
Yes.
We are creating for Sub-Saharan market, right? We try to reach 100 million kids by 2028.
Oh, wow.
So my perspective is always like, how do we get their content right without compromising the learning objectives and the education aspects of it? Once that is set up, then the team just go. An amazing team does that. I don't even do the writing on the day. The amazing team, they do the writing, and then I get to review to say, okay, this is good, this is amazing, or can we adjust here, can we adjust there? But it's and I tell you for a fact that our script writers, how they think of things, I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do your job, guys. Yes, I'm supposed to be the creative director, but I wouldn't be able to come up with these amazing, brilliant ideas and the songs and everything. And so it's a team effort. It's a teamwork, but yeah, like I said, on the personal level, it has really, really impacted how I communicate with my kids and another thing now. Also, I learned about the whole thing about spectrum and understanding that huyu anaweza akafanya hivi, huyu akafanya vile, and everybody think kila mmoja kati anaona it's okay. It's a duty as parents to say, how do I encourage more? How do understanding kwamba shuleni is more than passing your exams, right? And and I always tell my kids, look, yes, the results are important, but it's not the only thing that's important. For me, what's important is to know you've done your best. That's it. That's what I always ask, like, just let me know that you've done your best, and then the rest will take off itself. So yeah, it has been quite impactful, man, working at Bongo for the past 4 years. Yeah,
that's deep.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this final question. What is it that you now know that you wish you had never been told?
That wrestling is scripted? Nothing ruined my life, man.
All right.
Nothing ruined my life, man. Imagine Undertaker's whole script arc. One thing I wish I was told that I wish I shouldn't have been told.
One thing that you now know.
Yeah.
That you wish that you had just never been told, that you came to find out that it wasn't what it was,
the whole concept of and I believe it came from a place of love, right?
Yes.
You're saying the one thing, I don't want to mix up. Come back with the question.
So what's one thing that you now know that you wish you had never been
told? Never been taught.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I was about to say something quite the opposite.
Okay.
That I think I'm trying to find the right way to put it.
Yeah.
But I think the whole concept of life gets easier. Right?
All right.
I wish any mtu asingeniambia hicho kitu.
Yeah.
Because it builds expectations. Because whatever you're going through, after the any kisha itatizo. But then as I got older, I realized kila tatizo is stepping stone for the next tatizo.
Oh yeah.
And like unaweza kuwa na tatizo kubwa sana sasa hivi. Ukilisolve maanishi ndio maisha yako yote yatanyoka. Ukimaliza tu kingine kinakuja. And it has taken a while for me to really accept it kwamba that's how life is, and then you just find a way to swim through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think accepting is what would make things slightly better for you, but it's just going to make it any easier. Accepting kwamba whatever that you're dealing with right now, ukimaliza itakuja kingine. Now a lot of people who got this, yani ambao wameelewa concept vizuri sana, they're never phased. Like they're really unfazed because they know whatever it is right now, in season ya hii, ikiisha takuja season ya kitu kingine, ikiisha takuja season ya kitu kingine, ikiisha takuja season ya kitu kingine, and probably that's how life is mpaka tutakapoishia. So it's accepting that. So I wish I niambiaga maisha yatakuwa rahisi. That one bastard. or 2 or 3 bastards.
2 or 3. Man.
But yeah, no, it's always things pile up, and it is what it is, man. It's what comes with adulting. It is what it is.
Man, Michael, thank you very much. Honestly, it's been great. This last week,
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
you know, I hope we have more of these sit downs.
100%.
Yeah, you know. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Yeah, this is your birthday month.
It's
I
my
don't need to
birthday
know
month.
the date. Yeah,
It is my birthday month. Yeah.
You know,
And it's me.
Yeah.
It's my sister.
Mhm.
It's my mom. It's one of my cousins. So it's
It's a family affair.
It's a family affair, man. It's a family affair.
No, brother, man. Yeah, I mean, wish you all the best in your leap of faith.
Thank you, sir.
I really see where you're headed at. And most of all, I can actually say that I do see the passion that you have in actually the service. Yeah, giving back, especially the field that you're in right now, in the space that you're in. I think I'll pick up. So one thing from you is allow yourself to learn from your children.
Allow yourself to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We may lead, we may provide,
Yeah.
but they have a lot to. They have a lot to teach too.
Yeah.
You know. So, man, stay blessed, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Take it easy and see you around, man.
See you around, my man. Thanks.